Cartel, my people, my babies, my dogs, what's going on, y'all boys, man? You already know what time it is, man. It's your boy Golden Ghost, and welcome back to the Golden Ghost Cartel. And today I wanted to do one more Stellar Blade Blood Rain video for a little while. Probably my last one for a little while until we get another trailer, bro. But this is a very fun yet important video nonetheless. With the game being in early development yet confirmed to be happening, I think now is probably the best opportunity for fans to put in requests to get things added into the game sooner rather than later, or at least put in a pipeline to be added in post-launch. This could be bug fixes, additions to things, or simple suggestions to make the game more fun for you. I wanted to throw my hat into the ring and give my suggestions to improve what Stellar Blade is currently basing its foundation going into Blood Rain. I'm currently replaying Stellar Blade as I'm making this video, so if it comes to a point where I beat the game and I have additional things that I want to add, I'll probably make a part 2 to this, maybe like a few months down the pipeline. You never know. But my wish list currently is what can be improved on for the combat, as well as my suggestions to improve the story and post-game longevity. This video is in a lot of ways my opinion, but I will also give some specific examples in game of what I'm talking about for certain talking points. I'm also basing my wish list off of what they are currently envisioning for the game, so I'm not going to say anything like make Eve the protagonist again or anything like that. You know, trust in the devs to make a good Stellar Blade 2 in the same way they proved themselves with Stellar Blade 1. You know, if they want to bring Eve back in, then they will make that decision. Otherwise, the original Stellar Blade exists for a reason if you want Eve. Most importantly, the purpose of this wish list is to start a discussion and hopefully come to a consensus of what the Stellar Blade fans would like out of this game. So I invite all of my viewers, American, Korean, Japanese, and all my other 0.3% of demographics, to jump in and give your suggestions. And hopefully with enough conversation, someone at the dev team will see this and be able to apply these changes in their own way for themselves. With all that being said, let's get into it. So let's start with the combat. Now, combat is something that I've always gushed over when it comes to this game. There is hardly anything bad I have to say about the combat. I feel like they've done a lot right with the combat, but there are some things that could be improved on in my opinion, starting with the lock on. I feel like the moment that you turn it on and actually lock on to an enemy, once you kill them, if you're in an encounter that involves multiple enemies, you should be able to automatically snap from that lock on to the next enemy closest to you, so that way you're not having to frantically dodge out the way when you're getting aggroed by another enemy that's right next to you and trying to lock on to them and continue combat. I feel like if you're able to automatically swap lock on after killing one enemy going into the next, it should, you know, improve the overall combat pacing and you know, without you losing flow of where you're at. There's been one too many times where I'll be fighting 3 enemies, I kill one, and then I have to unnecessarily eat damage because I'm looking at a wall now instead of looking at the next enemy that's trying to throw an attack at me. Now sometimes it does do this, which I assume is the original intention, but other times, and majority of the time, it just doesn't do it this way. This is something that I believe just requires a little bit of polish, just a little blemish that needs to be cleaned up. Another blemish that I think should be touched up is the dodge counters. For the most part, the dodge counters do work as intended, and by dodge counters I do mean the little blue flash. The thing flashes blue over Eve and you hit forward dodge, and then you get this animation where you dash behind them and slash them in their back. Really sick, really awesome. For the most part, this works as intended, but against specific enemies, and even in some cases against bosses, I found situations where they'll do the move that makes them turn blue. Eve turns blue. I do the dodge, and I just dash in the air, and the dash is empty. Nothing happens. I dash, and sometimes I just end up dashing right into the command grab. It's something that doesn't happen often with bosses, but there's been cases where it's happened to me against bosses as well. This next suggestion isn't really bug oriented or anything of the sort, but more of an addition suggestion. I feel like one thing that was lacking potential in Stellar Blade was the air combos. I didn't really rely on any of Eve's jump in the air and hit her light attack or her heavy attack really often because wasn't really a need for it. So I believe there should be a way to implement air combos in the next installment if you really want to flesh that out. Combos that go into launchers, like designated combos that launch the enemy and allow you to be in the air with them, that go into air combos. Flesh out the air combos a little bit, be able to do a couple different things in the air that allow you to juggle them, spike them back down to the ground, and then the spike down onto the ground will allow you to get back on the ground fast and then continue to combo even further. And I think a good way to balance this without making it seem like a Devil May Cry situation is if you tie it to the parries. One thing that's really good about Stellar Blade that you'll notice is when you parry an enemy, after you get all the parries off, you get this stagger effect. And I feel like the stagger effect, when you get a parry off and get a stagger, you should be able to use that stagger to get that type of combo off. You can't just get a combo into a launch for free and stuff like that. I'm thinking maybe it can be like a 3 or 4 hit combo that will give like a regular opponent enough time to get their move off, get like a little armor move off that'll knock you out before you can actually get like a combo and stuff like that that'll launch them. And it can even work that way for bosses too, you know. If you say you get hit with a 6-hit combo and you parry all 6 hits, the 6th hit, once you parry it staggers them. Now you can hit them with a 3-hit launcher. You launch them into the air and you get a nice little sick looking combo. I think that would just be an overall great addition because it will make some use of the air combos that you have in the game, because in the first game I felt like the whole air combos was kind of wasted potential because I never really found a situation where I really wanted to use it. Going back around to the bosses in Stellar Blade 1 are really good for the most part, but personally for me, the game really kicked into high gear for me during the unidentified Naytiba fight and the Raven boss fight. Both fights ramped up difficulty to test your knowledge of the mechanics that you learned without feeling like a complete damage sponge, and Raven specifically tested your knowledge and parrying skills so well that it felt closer to a Sekiro boss fight than anything else in the game. I feel like I would like most of the bosses to reflect closer to the designs of those two bosses, because the way they test the player and makes them actually feel like super boss characters in comparison to the rest of the gallery, it kind of dwarfs the rest of the bosses in terms of how fun they are to fight overall. And I also think Blood Rain specifically, with Eevee's playstyle and stuff, a rival character and stuff that had like that same effect that Raven had for Eve, I think that'll do a lot of good as well. Now, alright, moving on to the story, and this is the last real suggestion, but there is a lot that I want to say about this. I have a lot typed out. Eve in Stellar Blade, in my view, was portrayed to be a very passive character. She spent most of the game just completing her mission and trying to understand the world around her. Even by the end of the game, where she learned the truth and finally had her own personal mission to set out on, that's where the game ended. And that's mostly why the new character Evie has gotten a bit of backlash, because fans of Eve felt like her story was incomplete. And even outside of that, you're gonna get backlash no matter what when it comes to a new protagonist switch. You know, when Dante switched to Nero in Devil May Cry, when Raven replaced Hayabusa in Ninja Gaiden 4, that got backlash. You're always going to get backlash for that. I think a good compromise will be to explain what happened in the aftermath of Eve's story so she can complete the story. Not through logs or text, but as impactful moments in the story mode. Bite-sized playable sections where you get to actually play as Eve 1 or 2 times in the main game while explaining how her actions led to the current point we're at in the story when it comes to her relationship with Evie. Speaking of Evie, this character would extremely benefit from being a bit different from Eve. Like I said, Eve is a very passive character for majority of the first game. I believe in order to make Evie stand out on her own, she should be a bit more proactive of a character, carrying out whatever mission she has, but also having her own personal motivations and goals, whether that be for the greater good or some type of revenge, or maybe the guy with the white hair in the trailer has some kind of power over the city or something like that. They are a terrorist group that Evie's after. I feel like all of that can be possible for her without the need to change how she looks or how she acts. One more thing about the story, and I know every Stellar Blade fan will agree with me on this one. In New Game Plus and beyond, man, give the player a mode to play through the story as multiple different characters. Kind of like how in Devil May Cry they have a mode where you can play as Virgil through the whole game. Give us the option to play with Eve through an entire story mode in New Game Plus. Raven, Taki, and any other meaningful characters that are capable of combat and blood rain that are original characters. Let us play with all of them in New Game Plus. Let us play through the whole story mode. This adds even more replayability across the other modes. Add it to the game, and it gives a lot of fan service to players like me that always want to play with Raven or Taki. But it also gives that fan service to the console players as well, because honestly, PC players can just mod a character into it if they want to. Like, yeah, I can play as Raven right now. If I get Stellar Blade on PC and mod Raven into the game, I can play as Raven right then and there. But the console players don't have that. Let it be the default. Let it be the default. Give Raven a moveset, give Taki a moveset, give Eve an updated moveset, and let us be able to play with the story with the iconics that made Stellar Blade what it is and the reason why we're here now. These are changes that I have so far currently. Do you have any suggestions? Were some of my suggestions unreasonable, or do you agree with my wish list? Hop in the comments and give your Stellar Blade Blood Rain wish list, because at the end of the day, what we are all going to want is a product that is a worthy sequel to what we were given in the first Stellar Blade. And with all that being said, man, if y'all enjoy this type of content, y'all want to see more, man, you already know what to do. Leave a like, comment, share with your friends, all that good stuff, man. And as always, subscribe for some more from the Golden Ghost Cartel. GGC, we the best team in the league. And I'll catch you on the next one. Deuces.